Hello, my name is Christy Courtney, and I am responding to the communication milestones prompt that is due tomorrow, I believe. I have viewed all 6 of the videos. On the first 4 videos, I decided to try and classify them into one of the 5 developmental levels for infants and toddlers. I felt like this gave me a better, by making myself classify them, then I was able to look at all the attributes of each level and understand them a little bit better. If I have done this correctly, if I'm understanding each one, the first video, the infancy one, I would classify in the reflexive stage and showing signs of moving into the control of phonetation level. The reason I determined that is, obviously there was like the sneezing and the different noises, but then the baby was beginning to kind of do some croaking noises in her throat. So that's why I decided that one would be moving quickly into, if not already into, the control of phonetation. The infancy 2 video I would classify in the expansion level due to the frequent vocalization of vowel sounds, and at the end there was some intentional giggling at the end of the video. It seemed the baby liked hearing herself make those noises, and so I felt like that was lots of vowel noises, so I put that as the expansion. At toddler 1 video, I would classify in the basic canonical syllables, but moving into the advanced form due to the use of jargon. That while the baby seemed to lack any intentional sounds or words, even when prompted to say bye-bye at the end of the video, they didn't respond with that, but it was constant making noise and babbling, and I felt that maybe it was a higher level than just the basic canonical syllables, due to the use of jargon some. And then the toddler 2 video, I would classify in the advanced forms developmental level. This sweet girl, she was able to respond to questions. She was, when she was prompted and things like that, she is transitioning into the symbolic represent. She understood some of the symbolic representations of words. For example, when they kept asking, "Who's your brother?" and she would say Kyle. Well, Kyle wasn't her brother, but he was somebody's brother, and she knew that word was associated with him. After they prompted a few more times, she said Willie. So she has assigned, she knows the word brother, kind of what that means, and then has assigned Kyle and Willie the name, those symbolic names, those symbolic words are what represents the boy that is Kyle and the boy that is Willie. When I moved into the preschool videos and looking specifically at the form, content, and use of their accomplishments compared to the first videos, there was obviously a great jump between some of them. I felt the preschool 2 video, the jump from the toddler 2 video to the preschool 2 video was not as great as it was in the preschool 1 video. The preschool 2 video had the little girl, and she was hard to understand. She struggled to say on a topic or on a task. She was very fidgety. She moved around. She was not able to maintain focus on what she was trying to be asked, where the little boy in the preschool 1 video, he fidgeted because he's in preschool, but while he was fidgeting with his toys, he was still able to take turns in conversation and look up and stay on task. I felt like the form with the little boy, he understood. He used the word played and he used the words running, and so he whenever he was just talking about something being wet, he said very wet. So he seemed to understand what way to use words as far as what tense. The content, I felt like he understood everything that he was discussing, everything that he was talking about. Things were wet. The only word that I felt like maybe was not the correct use was when he used the word bad. He said, when he was describing the pool, he said the water was bad. You could understand why that was the word that he chose, but it wasn't necessarily the correct word to choose. So it showed some understanding of the word and the usage of the word, but maybe not complete understanding. I felt like he took turns well. As far as the use, he took turns, could go back and forth with the lady who was having the conversation with him. He was able to, somewhat of a narrative. He stayed on topic. He was on. He stayed in the same core conversation. he did require some prompting after he initially gave the information, a little bit of a narrative, but then he required some prompting to give more details on the conversation. Where the little girl in the preschool 2 video, like I said, she was hard to understand. With form and content, I feel like she struggled sometimes to know the correct usage of the word, or sometimes to find the correct word she needed to use, period. So she would be telling a story about the little boy that she played with when they were supposed to be taking a nap. And at one point she's trying to tell something about him and she can't figure out the words. So she just kind of skips over to a different part of the conversation. Or at another time she said, we went, it was nap time, but I didn't take a nap. It felt like she was trying to start a statement, but she couldn't figure out what word to say next. So she changed and went, we went, but she still couldn't figure out what word to use next. So then she said it was nap time, because she understood what all of those words meant, and she understood that they described what she was trying to portray. So they relayed the message, even though the other words could have, but she couldn't find the words to go on the end of them to fully explain what she was wanting. I feel like fluid conversation was difficult. She would change the topic. So for when they were talking about the field trip and she was excited and said some mothers and fathers are going, is what the lady had told her, and she kept asking questions about those, but then she jumps to singing a song about mothers and fathers that was not part of the core conversation. She had moved off and they had varied through different pieces of conversation throughout the entire exchange. Alrighty, that's everything I had on that. I look forward to your feedback to know if I'm understanding these things correctly. Between form and content, I think I'm struggling just a little bit. I understand what each one is, but I'm struggling to know how I classify one from the other. I feel like they are very interwoven, which all conversation I guess is, but I'm struggling with that. So thank you very much. Have a good day.